Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. The talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is internationally syndicated solely due to the love and support that you all continue to give. We're available across all major distributors, and as long as you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in, because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Gracie Lawrence. Now we're going to be discussing Gracie's incredible novel, Love in Reality, a virtual reality romance. It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's a lot of other places, man. And I'm telling you, this is one that you're going to absolutely want to add to your shelf. Before I go any further, I want to point out the fact that Gracie was brought to us by Citi of Books. So for writers out there listening in that have gone through their process, and now you're sitting there questioning how you're going to move the book you just developed, head on over to citiofbooks.com and gather all the ways that their fantastic team is well equipped to help you do just that. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Gracie here on the line. People, let me ask a question that is both wildly entertaining yet incredibly poignant to where we currently are in society. And, listen, this is not taken out of a science fiction film, okay? This is an actual potential for our future. And we're going to go into a lot of the nuance. But let me ask, if you couldn't tell the difference, would you choose a perfect virtual reality over your imperfect actual life? It's interesting when you think about that question, because I think on the surface, we may have one answer, but then as we delve deeper, we start to really analyze the nuances. You may be surprised with what you come up with. Because listen, we already outsource our boredom to screens, our loneliness to apps, and our romance to swipes. And Gracie Lawrence has written an essential thriller for this moment. Trust me when I tell you, man, listen, we're going to follow a main protagonist here, a woman who gets the ultimate escape opportunity, right? She finds this gift to this virtual reality world only to find that the exit door has vanished. Now, in the journey that the main protagonist embarks upon, it's a thriller. But I'm going deeper than just the entertainment value here, because I believe that this is a conversation about the cost of our convenience and whether or not we're potentially building our own traps one click at a time. Sit back, strap in. I'm looking forward to this one, man. This one's got me thinking. It's got my team and I just having fantastic conversations, and I know it's going to do the same for you. Let's get it going. Gracie, first and foremost, welcome to the network, and thank you very much for being a guest. How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Gracie, listen, I'm looking forward to this discussion. I think it has a wonderfully embedded concept in our society today, and something that really does seem like a very plausible next step for us. So we're looking forward to it. Welcome to the show. First and foremost, Gracie, start off by telling us a little bit more about your background.
Well, I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington, and part of a pretty big family. My parents and 4 siblings. So we really love this state. It's got beautiful surroundings, mountains, evergreens, all that you could ask for, really.
Yeah. There you have it. All right, well, let's jump right into the book. I have a lot of questions that I want to get into, but before we jump there, tell us a little bit more about your novel, Love in Reality.
Well, Love in Reality was kind of interesting sort of adventure story I came up with just based on like what was current these days. I mean, there was a lot of talk about AI programs and, virtual reality games, and I just thought, it would be a really fun idea to kind of create a sort of a romance in the virtual reality game arena.
Okay, so sticking with inspiration here, so we understand why the concept was something that was appealing from a writing
Mm-hmm.
perspective, I mean, did you always consider yourself a writer? Were you writing growing up? Like, where does that love for that creative expression derive from?
I started reading some interesting adventure books when I was around, I'd say, middle school age. Earlier than that, I wasn't much in for reading, but I got into like the Indian in the Cupboard book series, and
Yeah.
I kept reading them. They were just so fascinating to me. Just having a little mannequin just turned real all of a sudden. So I think part of my current inspiration probably blossoms from there, because I always loved the idea of taking something ordinary and kind of making a cool adventure out of it, And when I came up with the idea for this book, I was just playing a video game, with NPCs all around in this kind of, I want to say, like rustic environment, and it was kind of early access at the time, so you would like expect like glitches and things like that. And at one point, the NPC around me was like, popping up all over the place, and there was like no cause for it. And I was like, okay, it's a glitch. It's kind of scary, but okay. But from there, that's kind of how I got the idea for this book, because I was like, well, what if there was like someone in the game who couldn't escape it, and the only way they could communicate with the player per se was to cause the game to kind of glitch in and out, and that's kind of how the whole story evolved, I guess.
Mm. All right. So Gracie, I want to ask, because listen, I know in the pre-screening call you had mentioned that this book is really for pure entertainment, right? And again,
Mm-hmm.
I can see that it has entertainment in spades. Okay, there is a lot there, but it doesn't take much to delve further and I guess read in between the lines, whether that was an intent or not. It's there because again, we understand the world that we are in, how much AI is already taking over, and where a lot of experts are claiming it's going to go just within the next 5 years, right? So I want to ask, while you were creating it, because again, whether it was a final intent of yours, I believe it must have come up, right? Like the algorithm being so, I don't know, overwhelming, I guess is a word that I want to use, although I don't think it
Mm-hmm.
fits necessarily as correctly. But to hear it from you, like, is the AI in your story, is it a benevolent matchmaker? Is it a metaphor for a predatory digital ecosystem that we are currently currently witnessing and moving towards? Talk to us a little bit more about that. Like, again, is it purely entertainment and that's where you're hoping it stays, or is there a potential metaphor that can be pulled?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think really it's both, honestly, because what I started out was I kind of wanted to give a great adventure for one,
Hmm.
and a really sweet romance. But I also kind of wanted to have this feeling that, well, we can enjoy electronics and things like that, but I think we should, have like a light hand on it, so to speak, like not like overwhelm ourselves with it, because then,
Yeah.
I mean, we could just get consumed basically and then forget those around us and the relationships that we formed in life. And it's better to just kind of, have a distance, so to speak. And so the AI in the book turned out to be one that was initially supposed to be helpful, but then decided to just sort of do its own thing and kind of perfect what it saw instead of having humanity in mind.
I think that's a chilling realization, at least for me, right? Like I was born during, not to age myself here. I'm not going to go into specifics here, people. But I was born during a time where technology wasn't around in this sense, right? Like I mean, we were still using house phones. We had cordless phones, and that was like even way later on. Before it was like you had to stand in the middle of the living room and talk to a significant other so everybody could hear, right? Like that's kind of the world where I was presented with. right? This Atari kind of video game series was very advanced for me. But now we're in like it's such a different world. And I'm very excited about it. We infuse it into our business every single day with the films that we create and the marketing projects that we develop. But there is something that is chilling about it. And it reminds me of, I guess, one of the closer things that we currently see happening now is like self-driving cars. It's so interesting to me. And listen, to each their own, right? I'm a live and let live type of person. But I have people in my inner circle that have these electronic vehicles, that have these self-driving capabilities, and they are just so willing to, they're like, yeah, I put it on and I sit back and I let it go. And I'm like, I get that, but are we there yet? And you're putting a whole lot of faith in this particular contraption. And it's a similar thing, right? Where it's like, once you give over that control, you don't know if it's actually going to work 100% of the time. So for me, like, I'm still on the fence where I'm like, man, let me kind of keep it at bay and not invest so much into it. But I understand that that's only going to become more and more prevalent with each passing day. So I love the concept that your book presents. I'm curious to know, as we switch gears here to your writing process, Gracie, what was a highlight for you, or maybe something that surprised you throughout this writing process that you weren't expecting?
Well, at first I kind of like just tried to kind of rough out the plot, like beginning, middle, end kind of, but I've never like done something to this extent before. So, I mean, there was a lot of, going back and kind of adjusting here and fixing there. And I mean, I probably wrote the beginning like several times over because I was just like, I mean, like, you want to step up to put your, best foot forward kind of a thing. So, I mean, but I'm glad with how it turned out in the end. I mean, the main thing is just to, kind of fix here and fix there until you get just the right, flow to it, I suppose. But yeah, I had to kind of teach myself that, hey, you can, adjust. It's not like, etched in stone yet,
Absolutely. Listen, Gracie, as we close out, man, there is a lot here, and I don't want to dive down that rabbit hole too much. As you've already mentioned a number of times, it's written for pure entertainment, people. So I'm really taking the bull by the horns and diving down this rabbit hole. I think the message is there. She's already stated what I guess the cautionary tale, the telltale sign here to be on the lookout for. But as we close out, Gracie, anything else that you'd like to let our listening audience know, either about your book, about what is upcoming, anything at all?
Yeah, I just want them to enjoy the sweet virtuality romance, and I hope to do more of these adventures in the future, so be on the lookout.
Listen, I first and foremost, let me just say it again, okay? It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble. Remember, the book is entitled Love in Reality, a virtual reality romance by Gracie Lawrence. Head on over there and pick up your copies today. Remember, a fantastic book to get lost in on a rainy day, right? You need some entertainment to help you pass the time. This book's got it in spades. But I do think that it is a wonderful cautionary tale to just be mindful of. Like, we can't fight the evolution of technology and the future that we are moving towards. It's impossible. Like, it's just not going to happen that way. That's the world we're in. That's where we're going. Okay. Well, two things can be true, right? We can move towards that world and also understand, like, it's the old adage, everything in moderation. We have become so addicted to our devices that it's always an arm's length away. And we've already seen, just with social media apps, the downside to it, right? A lot of the cons that have developed through that. AI has now been infused in a lot of different ways, and there's so much nuance to it. And again, as someone that utilizes it all of the time in my life, in my business, it is something that I believe is a remarkable assistant. But we also got to remember we're humans, right? And we don't want to get too infused. So before you step up and be next in line to get some type of chip added into your body that could manipulate you for God knows what. Let's take a second and think about it, right? Let's take a moment to have a conversation and truly examine the pros and the cons and really, not be so drawn to the lure of the screen or the technology or whatever else may be there. This is a fantastic journey to embark upon, man. It's something wildly entertaining. Huge thanks to Gracie for creating the book, and more importantly, for being here with us to discuss it through people of distinction.
Thank you so much for having me.